Hello. Today's stories come from r/slash Today I Messed Up. Today we have some of my favorite stories in a while. They're all short but packed to the gills with wholesome comedy. The gills reference will make sense later. Hold on to your teas. We start with our first story titled Today I Messed Up by Kissing My Deaf Friend. Hi there, 22-year-old male here. I'll try to keep it short. I met a girl through a mutual friend. We've known each other for roughly a year, but haven't spent time alone yet, always in a group. She's very sweet and pretty. She's not completely deaf. She can still hear a bit with the help of hearing aids. I guess mild deafness? Not sure though. Yesterday, we met up with our mutual friends. We were having a barbecue. Later on, we ran out of snacks, so the other two went to the grocery store. We were alone in the yard, chatting, etc. Now, I noticed that she kept staring at my lips, so I thought to myself, does she want to kiss me? Since she didn't stop staring, I thought that it's obvious. This time, I'm not going to miss a hint. I leaned in to give her a kiss. I mean, she did kind of kiss me back, but afterwards, it was like dead silence. Thank goodness the other two arrived a few minutes later. The rest of the evening was super awkward between us. Later, as she left, I told the other two friends that I had kissed her because she kept staring at my lips. They started laughing, saying, "Of course she's staring at your lips. She's lip reading." Man, I totally forgot that deaf people also use lip reading to communicate. And since she's never actually done that before, I didn't take that into consideration. This will definitely be one of the moments that'll make me stay up at night and cringe. Plus, I probably ruined the friendship. Update. Okay, guys, I sent her a message asking if she wants to come over. She said she'll be here in an hour. I'm nervous, trying to convince my roommate to go on a long walk. Update 2. Sorry that you guys had to wait that long. She just left 5 minutes ago. I didn't tell her beforehand that I wanted to talk to her about the kiss, so it was a bit awkward approaching the topic. I can't go into full details now, but I told her that I didn't mean to make her feel uncomfortable and that I had misread the signs. We had a good laugh. Afterwards, I asked her if she'd be down to maybe try things out if she's interested. The thing is, she's going to move to Munich, Germany in a few months, end of March. I live in France. And she told me that while she does like me, she didn't plan on making any romantic interest because she doesn't want to get too attached due to her moving away anyway. She admitted to liking me a lot and would like to give it a shot despite the circumstances, but only under the condition that I am being serious about it, since she doesn't want something that's only casual. We're going on a date on Tuesday, and we'll just see if it works out between us. Oh my gosh, how embarrassing. Can you imagine? Ooh. Let's head to the comments where we'll find some funny wordplay and good advice. Dave Lip said, kisses girl, second guesses, friends laugh at him, but girl wants to hang out again? Looks like this isn't a Today I Messed Up. Stealth Shape said, it was potentially Today I Messed Up before the update. Tatab said, r/slash Today I almost messed up, but the deaf girl actually was kind of into me. In response to, afterwards, it was like dead silence. I Spy said, this is the funniest part, all things considered. Ozeki said, the silence was deafening. Sun Spider said, talk to her. Tell her just what you told us. It will help. Trust me. Eggplant Nipple said, just remember one thing as you're talking to her about it. She isn't watching your lips because she wants to kiss you. OP replied, thanks for reminding me. Our second story might be the most controversial tonight. We have a betrayal unlike any we have seen on this channel before. Today I messed up by lying to my wife for 13 years. My wife hates orange and lime flavored candies. I love them. Well, love the orange, like the lime. So she passes on the orange Starburst to me. She passes the orange and green Skittles to me. She passes the orange and green gummy bears to me. This has been happening for 13 years. What she doesn't know is that the green Haribo gummy bears are actually strawberry. Shortly after we married, for one reason or another, I looked at the back of the Haribo gummy bears package and discovered this. So I haven't said anything for 13 years. Every time we get gummy bears, she gives me the orange and green strawberry. I've never said a word. I've enjoyed eating my little lies. Until last night. We had some gummy bears and she opened them and she started to hand me the orange and green ones. But after a few minutes, I saw her looking at the back of the bag. Then I saw her eyes get real big. She turned to me and asked if I've known that the green bears were strawberry. She always thought they were lime. I was honest and nodded my head yes. The look of betrayal was unreal. She asked how long I've known, and I was honest. I told her as long as we've been married. She quit giving me the gummy bears she didn't like. She was even eating the orange ones out of spite. I don't think I'll get any more gummy bear discards after this. Time to buy my own. Edit. We don't eat these every day, a few times a year at most. I don't just get the rejects, it's a shared bag. Whenever she grabs a few, she would pick out the orange and green and hand to me, just like I would give the pineapple to her. Blah. I can just picture OP's wife's face, the shock and horror of the betrayal. I take my snacks very seriously, and I love candy. I view it as quite the indulgence, so if I uncovered that I was missing out on such a delectable flavor, well, I'm not sure how I'd feel. Let's check out some hilarious anecdotes about other sneaky snackers getting caught. CL Who shared, every year for her birthday, my step-grandmother received a gift of chocolate-covered cherries from her husband. When he died and she married my grandfather, he thought it would be so thoughtful to continue the tradition. She took one look at the box, stood up, dumped it in the garbage, and declared, I'm not spending another 30 years pretending to like those disgusting things. Paper Great said, my mom didn't know that a local pizza place gave free breadsticks with a large pizza. My dad had been eating them on the way home with a pizza for 10 years. Rania Bologna shared, my brother-in-law accidentally outed himself to my sister recently when, while watching his diet, he proudly told her that he didn't even get a Car McChicken when he was picking up McDonald's. Then he had to explain that a Car McChicken is the extra sandwich he sneaks on his way home with the rest of the food. Hyratius shared, I will admit to a car donut on occasion. Go to pick up a half dozen, usually ask for one in a separate bag that I eat in silent bliss before coming back. Moneybag said, laugh my butt off. This is such a legitimate marriage dispute. It's ridiculous. I've been married since 2010, and my wife wouldn't be thrilled about something like this either. Someone else said the worst part is explaining this to the marriage counselor without both spouses melting from embarrassment. Emotional Kirby said, but during that melting process, they rediscover their love for each other and renew their vows. Our third came from Am I the Butthole, but had no request for a judgment, just a man on the edge who has a way with words and a wife he loves. Our story is, My wife sleeps like a butthole. To start, I love this woman more than life itself. She is the most selfless, supportive, and loving person I have ever met. Every single day I am with her, I am a better person for it. That being said, she sleeps like a butthole. We start all cuddled up like a Disney movie, snug as a bug in a rug, and then, when she falls asleep, we begin the nightly turf war that is our bed. She will often start with a classic starfish maneuver, spreading her arms and legs to establish a beachhead to begin her insurgence. She will then begin to slowly rotate her body in a counterclockwise fashion until she is sleeping diagonally across the bed, establishing an ingress with her feet and legs. Then, with the classic pincer executed as ruthlessly as Hannibal himself, she brings her upper body forward, pinning me in and leaving me exactly 2 inches for my insomniac self to try and sleep on. I then try to slowly slide out of bed and sleep on her side, in which her reaction is to do the same thing 5 minutes later. I have tried everything. We bought a California King for our tiny bedroom. I establish a green zone with pillows. I have even gently picked her up and slid her to her side to no avail. The thing is, I can't sleep in an empty bed anymore because I love this dummy so much. It has literally kept me up nights that I end up going to work with no sleep, and I can only sleep the next night out of sheer exhaustion. She also works hard, so I can't wake her up, but oh gosh, I am tired. This has to be one of the most heartwarming stories I've read. Loss of sleep is serious. The fact that he speaks so fondly of her is just delightful. On to the comments for some laughs. Neon Lemon said there is only one solution, bunk beds. OP replied, so much more room for activities. Cookie Jar added, "Do you want to go to karate in the garage?" Someone else said, "Establish dominance. Starfish back." King Taco said, "Starfish wars. A new hope." Someone else added, "Inverted stance. Brown starfish attack." Arvis Owen said, "One idea is a weighted blanket for her. My kids move around a lot when they sleep, but not with the weighted blanket." Chica Foxy said, "Should I pin down their arms and legs or just at the waist? Or wrap them burrito style in a regular blanket with the weighted blanket on top so they can't unroll?" Captain Kipper said, "I may be crazy, but hear me out. Weighted sleeping bag." Boom. Problem solved. Our fourth story gets a bit darker, but crosses that point, and you just have to laugh at absurdity. The story is, today I messed up by obliterating my wife's fish. Happened last night. Wife's 8-year-old very large goldfish was passing away, had dropsy, was suffering, and was on the verge of death. Wife and I looked into the symptoms, and there was practically no hope of him making a recovery. So she asked me to euthanize him. Looking into methods, it seemed pretty agreed upon that the most effective and quick way to euthanize a fish was blunt force trauma. Now, when I was a kid, my family were huge anglers, and I was designated as the fish killer when it was time to cook them. Back then, I was told to slam them on the ground as hard as I could. Well, my 8-year-old body wasn't strong enough to kill them instantaneously, so I had to do it multiple times. Honestly, it kind of messed me up a little. Flash forward to last night. I didn't want that happening again, and I wanted it to be painless. I asked my wife to leave the room because she was very upset, and I chose to do the deed by putting the fish in a plastic grocery bag and slamming it on the counter as hard as I possibly could. The poor fish was absolutely obliterated. The force ripped open the bag and sprayed bits of what used to be a goldfish in every direction. Told my wife to stay upstairs, and she started getting suspicious. So she comes down after 5 minutes, and it's just everywhere, still. On the counter, on the stove, on the fridge, on the freaking Christmas tree we still have up. I was still finding pieces of it this morning. Wife was aghast and traumatized, cried until she went to bed. I guess now we know what inspired that Gills reference. Poor OP was just trying to do a good job. But maybe it was a little too good. Rest in pieces, little fish. Now to the comments where I struggled to keep it together. Donovan said, "The fish looking down from heaven." There's an eye emoji, lips emoji, and for those who are just listening, picture an eye emoji the next line down across the screen. Lifesa, in response, said, "Bro, I'm fracking crying laughing. I don't know why, but the thought of him still being in pieces in fish heaven is hilarious." Bandit6 Actual said, "Pick out a Bob the Goldfish memorial plant at the nursery, dig a hole in the backyard, place Bob in hole, immediately pulverize him with a blunt garden implement, plant the plant in the newly fertilized hole. Bob will now live forever." Hollybiv said, "Sounds like he's been pulverized plenty." One day Will added, "Just pour him in now, dog hair, lint, and all." Kaleidoscope View said, "Well, it died a warrior's death. Good on you, mate." Jarboxing said, "He's in a mead-filled tank in Odin's Hall now." Indie King added, "Stovacor with the honored dead." Our last story dives deep into the phenomenon known as pregnancy brain. It reads, "Today I messed up by letting my pregnant wife find out what submarines are really all about." So, the obligatory "this happened before my wife recently gave birth to our second child and hormones were off the charts." My very pregnant wife wakes up and I am already awake, having made coffee for myself and prepared tea in anticipation for a relaxed morning. I'm watching a PBS special about World War II submarines, and she sat down with her tea and started to watch. So, my wife isn't a huge history buff, and I am constantly reminding her of the order of commonly known events. She is incredibly intelligent, but she apparently had a very boring history teacher and never absorbed the information. As such, she had no idea that submarines were actually torpedo-carrying murder machines that were designed to blow up their enemies. I looked at her and she's bawling, tears running down her face, and she says, "But I thought submarines were just like for exploration and fun and stuff." I chalk it up to hormones, but I really ruined a nice morning. Edit. Wow, went to sleep and this got a bit hairy. Thank you to those who understand pregnancy brain and found this as cute, albeit shocking, as I did. No thank you to those who went straight to calling my wife horrible things or assuming anything else about her. And a big F you to those saying anything mean about my kids. Without going into too much detail, yes, she had a sheltered childhood where she didn't encounter submarines all too often, in the water, on land, or in the media. I guess her parents never gave her the submarine talk. She does, in fact, know a lot more about the grisly details of war now, as we have been trying to get her up to date, especially about the world wars. She may have had an inkling before that submarines were evil, but I don't think it was something she wanted to hear that morning. Pretty sure she thought they were used in war, but just for spying on the enemy. Be nice, and may you all keep your heads above water. Well, leave it to Reddit to twist a cute and endearing story into something nasty, my goodness. P.S. I love that OP's idea of a relaxing weekend morning is watching a World War II special on PBS. Sounds like my kind of person. Anywho, let's turn to the comments for another round of humor. But first, a really chilling comment from a former submariner. Dirty Deeds Inc. said, as a retired submariner, I made sure to never tell my wife how dangerous of a job it really is. Once I retired, I actually told her about the fires, flooding, and hydraulic ruptures that happened. The loss of depth control, the amount of days I was pretty sure I was going to die. She was horrified. Yeah, it sucks that your wife learned what she did, but there's so much more that she doesn't know, and you should keep it that way. Anonymous 1039 said, there's nothing in this world that'll wake me up quicker than a ventilation system shutting down. Dirty Deeds Inc. replied, been retired a decade. If the fan in my bedroom turns off at night, I wake up immediately. Hisako said, my wife started crying about a game where the mama panda had to save her babies. She failed a level and cried because now the mommy panda wouldn't get to see her kids. I honestly didn't know how to handle that one. Reflection Secure said the whole family was out to lunch one time when my brother-in-law asked his pregnant wife if he could have a sip of her milkshake. She started bawling. She was upset because she just wanted all of it. But then she became upset because she knew that this was a crazy thing to be crying about, especially in front of the whole extended family. Pregnancy does crazy crap to your hormones. Wicked Lion added, I was pregnant and my dog got stuck under a chair and was scrambling to get out, and it was hilarious. I was laughing so hard, and a minute later, I was sobbing. It was the weirdest thing ever. Egorios Bum said, but did you ever sit your kids down and give them the submarine talk? Reddit Noob said, if she dives underwater, she becomes a human submarine. Firezalb said, only if she destroys her enemies too. Funky Chunky Monkey said, the baby is a torpedo of sorts. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.